Just one win shy of tying Curt Schilling's 6th all-time with 101 wins. That's what he'd like to do tonight. He's made 6 starts, 1 and 2. The earned run average in the low 4s, 37 2/3 innings. The key to him, his last 3 have been really good. And he's 1-0 over those last 3 with an earned run average under 2. So it's going to be difficult for the Rockies as he has started to find his groove. Here at home, he struggled 1-1 with a 6.11 earned run average.
Take a look at the Phillies defense behind Cole Hamels. They've made some changes also because of De La Rosa being on the mound. John Mayberry Jr., who homered off the bench yesterday, he'll start in left field. Ben Revere again in center. Marlon Byrd is in right. Cesar Hernandez for the injured and disabled Cody Ashe at third base. Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, they never leave the field. Darren Ruff getting the start for Ryan Howard, who drove in 5 yesterday. And Chooch, Carlos Ruiz, is behind the plate. And all of that brought to you by Excel Energy. Visit responsiblebynature.com today to learn more. Well, now that the rain's cleared out, you look out at downtown Philadelphia, and we have a great view of it from our broadcast position. And it's a beautiful evening for baseball. Really, it's turned out nicely. Last guy you saw in your picture, Darren Ruff. So Drew Stubbs steps in, and more than anything, boy, the Rockies would love to put up a marker early against Hamels and kind of get off the schneid. First pitch is in there for a strike. Brian Gorman, the crew chief's behind home plate. Jeff Gosney's at first, Dave Rackley at second, and Jim Wolf is at third.
Good fastball again up in the upper half, and this is what he'll do. He can work both sides. That's what's made him successful in the last 3 starts where he had struggled early in the season. He did not have fastball command. Here's where you'll see the heater in, and he likes to cut it where it's under the bat, or underneath the hands, I should say, of the right-handed hitter.
That pitch just missed, and it's 1-2. And he goes back in there again with that cutter George was mentioning, and it's 2-2. Said it many times this year, George. There's not a lefty that doesn't throw a cutter, I think, left in baseball.
Well, that's a pitch that they've learned to use to get under the hands of right-handers to tie their hands up more than anything else. That time he got the pitch on the knees down on Stubbs. Not sure it was there.
So a strikeout of Stubbs to begin for Cole Hamels. All-time starts now in a Phillies uniform. Lefty who lives in Durango, 499. Then Robin Roberts, Chris Short, Grover Cleveland Alexander, Kurt Simmons, and then Cole Hamels. And LeMahieu fires at that first pitch, and he fouls it off. It's 0-1. This is a comfortable spot for DJ. He was doing a great job in the 8 spot in the lineup, flipping the lineup over. But he hits behind runners. He has the ability to lay down a bunt if you ask him to, naturally. So this is a natural fit for DJ. It's the 3rd time this year he has batted in the 2-hole. He's been scuffling a little bit, as has most of the Rockies. He's won for his last 19. It's cooled off with the rain. Game time temperature at 70 degrees. It was warmer than that this afternoon. Hamels had his face on virtually every magazine after the 08 World Series. World Series MVP. And that's back up the middle, but Chase Utley was shaded there, and he's going to get DJ LeMahieu by a step. Two outs, and that'll bring up Tulowitzki. Troy had a couple hits in yesterday's ball game. The Rockies with a string of singles. They have not had an extra base hit since Charlie Culberson bounced one over the third baseman's head in the 7th inning on Saturday night down in Atlanta for a double. And that catches his own. On the road trip, the combination of Troy, Michael Kadire, and Charlie Culberson batting .318 with 3 home runs. The rest of the club hitting just .131. And Troy was fooled. It's 0-2. The Rockies' lone win came on Saturday, a 3-1 victory over the Braves. They've scored just 9 runs in their last 7 road games. Two-strike count with 2 outs.
Cole Hamel gets a lot of confidence rolling in a ball game. You say confidence. He's won a lot of baseball games, made a lot of starts, but he does when he rolls through a first inning and he's able to have 1, 2, 3 innings. He had really struggled, mentioned that here at home, with a 6 ERA.
Tulo's hitting .447 as you look at Cargo. And Kadire behind him. Troy hitting .447 against left-handed pitching this year. Fist pump and calls for the fastball. And Tulowitzki pops it up. Ruiz will have a play. So the Rockies go in order in the first inning against Cole Hamels. We'll see Jorge De La Rosa when we come back to Philly. Colorado Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by T-Mobile Tuesday Night Baseball. By your neighborhood Toyota stores, Toyota, let's go places. By CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Southwest Airlines, find our fares online only at southwest.com. Locals call it the Bank, Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. All of the arenas are housed on the same acreage adjacent to downtown Philadelphia. It's where the Eagles play, the Flyers, and the Sixers. De La Rosa completing his warm-up pitches. Ben Revere out of Lexington, Kentucky. Did most of his growing up in the state of Georgia. He'll lead things off, and the rest of Ryan Sandberg's lineup looks like this. Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley. Marlon Byrd will bat cleanup. Darren Ruff in for Ryan Howard. John Mayberry, Carlos Ruiz, Cesar Hernandez, and Cole Hamels. And that lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. De La Rosa's on quite a roll. And for more, here's George. And his number is brought to you by Inova Cancer Care, non-surgical treatment of prostate cancer. Visit InovaCC.com.
Most wins since April 1st. De La Rosa, Shelby Miller, Wainwright, and Wood. Since April the 21st, 5-0 is what De La Rosa has been. Those last 6 starts, 5-0, 185 earned run average. The opposition has hit just 181. The most impressive thing, just 4 hits allowed in his last 16 innings.
Yeah, just 1 hit his last 10 innings. Kind of interesting numbers on Revere. He's hitting .291. That's outstanding. Takes a strike there. But his on-base percentage, George, is just .304 because he's walked only 3 times.
Swings the bat a lot. He doesn't walk much. He's not your prototypical leadoff hitter. Kind of surprised by that he doesn't work counts more, see more pitches early in a ball game.
Culberson in on the grass, fires it across, and you have Revere 1 out. That'll bring up Jimmy Rollins. Defense for the Rockies brought to you by Excel Energy. Visit responsiblebynature.com today to learn more. Cargo, Drew Stubbs, Michael Kadire in the outfield. Culberson again in third. Tulowitzki and LeMahieu in the middle, and Morneau on the right corner with Willeen Rosario doing the catching. So Jimmy Rollins in from the right side against De La Rosa.
For you waiting at home for this game to start with a long rain delay, no concern over this infield being wet at all. They were able to get the tarp on because some lightning hit around the ballpark while the Phillies were in batting practice. So they immediately put the tarp, stop. So, you know, a lot of times people see rain delay. And Kadire should get under this, and right he will. Is it you concerned about balls skipping on the infield on a wet surface? It's extremely dry in the infield.
Yeah, the Rockies actually got out on the field enough for a couple hitters to swing the bat in batting practice, and that's when they rolled the tarp out. The beautiful thing about today's stadiums, as you've often heard, is that you can hit underneath to your heart's content.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's just not the same. A lot of hitters want to see, like a golfer hitting balls into a net in his garage. They want to get outside and see the flight of the baseball, see how it's coming off the bat versus just hitting it 60 feet.
Chase Utley takes a strike. The Phillies exploded yesterday with 9 runs on 12 hits. Hit a couple home runs. The day after, they were no hit by Josh Beckett. De La Rosa works ahead 0-2 on Utley. Took a slider or cutter off the plate. It's 1-2.
That's that split finger that he just kind of overamps at times. When he does, it dives very late. He likes to start that pitch about belt high and let it ride to the knees. It's become a very, very effective pitch for him. Let's see what Rosario does here. He swung and missed on a very good slider away. Asked for the changeup, 4 fingers wiggled.
And he got him. Good inning for De La Rosa. Boy, he has strung together a ton of those. No scores. We go to the second. Jorge De La Rosa and Cole Hamels locked up.
Talking about the Rockies offense struggling, of course, here on the road. So had a chance to spend some time with hitting coach Blake Doyle today, and he talked about what he does with his team when they're struggling. It all goes back to the cage when they take some swings there.
They communicate to me when they're feeling good. They'll go, yes, that one feels right. So now I've got a mental picture of how they started, what they did, and we talk after at bats the same way. How did that feel? So I'm not a big guy as far as finding out what might be wrong. It's easy to see what's wrong, and they don't want to hear what's wrong. But they do want to hear what's right and what they were doing when it was correct, and we just go back there.
It's positive reinforcement, guys. He said he is a psychologist as well in this job that he has with the Rockies.
Well, I would agree with him. I mean, it's a job, the hitting coach's job. Any coach's job is positive reinforcement, pats on the back, claps. You'll get him next time. The hardest thing for a baseball player, any athlete, but particularly in baseball, is to have a very short memory. Forget the last pitch, the last out, what you did, where you went with a pitch and didn't have success, because you can't get it back. It's gone. But a lot of hitters want to dwell, so do pitchers, on the last pitch or swing and last result versus going forward and making it into a positive.
2-1 on Cargo, and it's 2-2. Cargo's had success against Cole Hamels. He's 4 for 13 lifetime, including a home run and a double. Actually, let me correct that, double and a triple against Cole Hamels. Couple walks last night, 0 for 2 otherwise. He hit a ball to the track in left field. 2-2. That didn't feel good.
Even with the shin guard on. It looked like it may have caught more of the ankle bone than it did out on the shin. It got him good. Ooh, that was up on the knee.
And he was on that fastball, fouled straight back, 2-2. Rockies, if you're joining us a little bit late, went in order in the first inning. Stubbs was caught looking. DJ LeMahieu grounded out the second, and Tulowitzki fouled out to Ruiz, the catcher. And that's picked off in the air. And just in case, Utley will go to first. The car goes out. And I think the indication of the second base umpire, Dave Rackley, was he caught it in the air. So
yeah, Rackley threw his fist up immediately when Utley backhanded the baseball. All about reaction, being in the right position when you get guys swing the bat as hard as this is swung by Cargo. He just picked it up and look, even though he caught it, he looked back at Ruff like, hey, come on, I'm coming over at you with the baseball. Get there.
Ball 1 on Kadire. Michael hits it high and deep to right field, and it's going to land in the glove of Marlon Byrd. And that's been the story for the Rockies of late. When they have gotten good wood on the baseball, more often than not, it's landed around the warning track or right at the wall.
Just trying to think, in Atlanta and to here, there's been at least 6 balls caught right in front of the fence that ended up in an out and a left turn. Tell you what, that got him too. That hurt.
And he deals with some knee issues anyhow as Morneau fouls this off. Deals with some tendonitis in the knees.
Look at the knot. You can see it. Pretty evident, black and blue, and got a golf ball on there right now.
High fly ball center field. Ben Revere raises his hand. He's got it, and the first 6 have been retired by Cole Hamels. Middle of 2, no score in Philadelphia. Rockies and Phillies. Rosa getting set to face Marlon Byrd. Fans, tweet your question using the hashtag Toyota Talk and watch as we answer your questions during the 5th inning of every ball game. Marlon Byrd, Darren Ruff, and John Mayberry here in the 2nd inning to face De La Rosa. Thought it was interesting yesterday that Ryne Sandberg, after the Phillies got no hit by Josh Beckett, ran virtually the same lineup out there. The only difference is Carlos Ruiz, who normally plays every day, had Sunday off, so he was not involved in the Beckett no-no. But I think it's, Ryne Sandberg's a Hall of Fame player, so it was a sign of confidence. Hey, I believe in you guys. This ball's well hit left center field, but it's playable for Stubbs. Go back out there and erase the memory of yesterday. Don't just redo the whole lineup because one lineup, your A lineup, got beat.
I read the article. I mean, and Rhino's going to play his guys. Not going to sit him down just because he got no hit. He understands that. And Rhino played a lot of games. I think Doug looked that up to see the average games played per year by Ryne Sandberg. It's a lot. And that's where, he's going to look and expect that out of his players.
Down and in on Darren Ruff.
Another nice story about Ruff. 20th round draft pick. Makes it to the big league. Still looking for his first base hit. Tulowitzki will handle the ground ball and throw him out.
2 gone, and that'll bring up John Mayberry. Walt was talking about one of the differences for De La Rosa the last 6-7 starts, and he said, his arm felt so good early. It was like he was pitching to punch everybody out instead of pitching to weak contact. And I liked how he expressed that. Not just pitching to contact, but pitching to weak contact.
I think pitchers have a purpose behind every pitch. He didn't have that purpose. He would just rear back, throw hard. Because his arm felt so good, he'd run up 94, 95, 96. But he didn't have a purpose behind his velocity. There was any location to it. Now there's location to it.
One is down on Mayberry. Mayberry has a couple of home runs. Both came in a pinch hitting role. In fact, he's leading the National League right now with 9 RBIs. All those ribbies are off the bench. This is his 10th start of the year. And George, I did ask him for you. I told him to tell his dad hello for you. Still, he and his wife live in the Kansas City area where he finished his career.
Yeah, finished it up where he had his most prominent years were there in Kansas City. He actually finished up with the New York Yankees in '82. He's already as a teammate of mine, but he
came to prominence
stayed
in
there.
Kansas City.
Yeah, prominent years there in Kansas City. Stayed there, very, very tight with the people with the Royals. Still does a lot of community service with the Royals. A lot of those players do on that 80 to 90 range. Those guys stick around all the time at 75 to 85 range. When the Royals had so much success, they do a lot of caravan work. They do an awful lot of work around the ballpark with the suite areas. It's pretty nice.
Fastball misses away, turned it over. It's 3-2.
How about this, Drew? 82 to 92, 10 years in a row. Sandberg averaged 153 games. Is that any good?
Well, he's a great two-way player. 3-2 on Mayberry and a ground ball to Troy. Easy hop. That's the kind you like to get. Well, Hamels has set down the first 6. So has Jorge De La Rosa. We'll go to the 3rd. Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the Ford F-150. It's not just a truck, it's an F-150, and it's built Ford tough. By Inova Cancer Care, advanced prostate cancer treatment. Visit InovaCC.com. And by Southwest Airlines, find our fares online only at Southwest.com. With George Frazier and Mark Stout, I'm Drew Goodman. This game got started about an hour and 20 minutes later than scheduled because of a rain cell that moved through. Willeen Rosario is batting 7th this evening, and he'll lead things off against Cole Hamels. Hamels with 100 career victories now, 176, and a 3.40 ERA. Heard the name for a long time, but he just turned 30.
One of those young pitchers, and if you think if he fulfills the contract, he'll pitch another 4 years. And if that's the case, you know, he may have that chance of racking up even more wins as he goes forward.
And Willeen, one of those Rockies that's trying to extract themselves from a little bit of a slump. Willeen 5 for 27 since coming off the disabled list with the influenza. And he acknowledged yesterday that the hand is a lot better, but it still bothers him a little bit.
Sure it does. It's not the 4 at-bats in a game. It's the 200 swings, the catching of some nights 150 pitches. I mean, there's a lot of wear and tear of what you're thinking about. And offense is such a big part of his game that, you know, you're trying to work on it to get better every night with it. You're going to overuse certain things that don't need to be overused. Particularly thumb areas are tough for catchers because when you're receiving the baseball, you're catching hard sinkers, you're trying to frame. They have protective devices now that they slide over the thumb area to protect it. You can see it there on Ruiz, that white part sticking out on the thumb area of his glove. It look pretty quick to get it, but he's got on it. It's a plastic sheet that just goes over the top of the thumb and absorbs a lot of that to protect that. So I see a lot of catchers see his finger out, the index finger outside the glove on a padded area. You see a lot of old-time catchers, ask them to let you see their left index finger. It's very big, very wide, and very swollen.
And once you get thumbed, it's not going to feel better until December.
And honestly, it really doesn't feel, because you hit it all the time. When you're just, you know, you open a car door and you go, man, what happened? You know, or you open up the door to go in the bedroom, and you're like, dadgummit, why does that hurt so bad? You know, it's kind of a permanent bone bruise.
This ball pulled hard to third. That's a good pickup by Hernandez. Cesar Hernandez takes a base hit away from Willeen Rosario.
I'll tell you what, this ball looked like it slowed down in that grass. It was hit really hard. Just grabbed it enough to allow Hernandez to get there and make a play on it. Showed you earlier Blake Doyle, and he has to keep a positive attitude. You know, Rosario just hit a ball hard, average not where he wants it at 226 coming into this game. Pat on the back, positive pat on the back. You just got to stay at it. You know, it's kind of like as a hitting coach and a coach at the big league level, it's kind of like telling your kids to clean the room up every day. They don't listen to you after a while, and if you constantly just pound them of negative, then they're not going to listen to you anymore. They want to hear positive things. Good swing, way to make contact, hands look good there. Whether they look good or not, tell them that to give them that positive vibe constantly over and over again. And I think one of the biggest things as a coach, and coaches, if you're on the couch listening right now, pay attention. Become their friend first. Once you become their friend, they'll trust your judgment of helping them.
Marlon Byrd will come on and make the catch. And there are 2 outs. Our cold hard facts are brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. De La Rosa will hit with 2 outs and nobody on. The Rockies have gone 22 plus innings now without scoring a run. The longest drought, 30 innings in late September, early October 2010. They went 28 innings last year in May. And De La Rosa takes a strike. And De La Rosa lines it to center, but Revere was playing shallow, and he makes the catch. Well, the first time through the lineup, Cole Hamels perfect. 9 set down. Third inning, De La Rosa faced Ruiz, Hernandez, and Hamels. Tonight's Cool Stat is brought to you by Steel T Heating and Air. Never a trip charge with a repair. That's a $69 value. Go to SteelT.com. Steel T, the T stands for trust. Rockies outfielders are hitting .312 collectively. That's #1 in baseball. They've scored more runs than any other group. Their 40 doubles is second. The home runs second. The ribbies third. But if you told that group right now about that, they could care less. All they want now is to put up a couple digits on the board and get ahead of Cole Hamels. They have not scored in 23 innings. Ruiz brings a .258 average into the ball game. Rockies flirted with him a little bit in the offseason, but he signed a lucrative 3-year deal to stay with Philadelphia. And he fouls this pitch off. And that is fought off and dumped into right field, a base hit. That's just the second hit De La Rosa's given up in the last 12+ innings.
Don't miss the action at Coors Field when the Diamondbacks, Dodgers, and Braves come to town June 3rd through the 12th. Make sure you get tickets for those 3 series. 303 Rockies, Rockies.com. Hernandez with a home run in the first game played has scuffled since. He's 0 for 15.
And that's a base hit. For Philadelphia, with 2 men on, nobody out for Hamels.
Left on left, and the ability to slide the ball away with the slider could make it a little bit harder for Hamels to put down a successful bunt here. Early in the game, you want to make sure you get an out. It's the 3rd inning. You're going to go to the top of their lineup, but the top of their lineup is mostly left-handed. 53 total sacrifice bunts for Hamels. He had 13 last year. He's had 2 this year.
Rockies yesterday turned their 58th double play of the year, which leads baseball. Make that 57.
With the catcher running at second base, the defense set up that time was for Culberson to stay at home, De La Rosa and Morneau to charge and try to get the force at third.
And it's going to be a hit. Yep.
There's nothing you can do about it. I know De La Rosa's disappointed that he didn't get to the baseball, but it was bunted extremely hard. And when it was, as the bunt defense was set up, he had the third base line. And so he broke off the mound. And when he broke off the mound, basically watch Charlie. Broke off the mound. Charlie's headed back to the bag because he thought De La Rosa would get to the baseball. So if you have the other defense set up on, then you have the ability that he's going to come get it. If it's bunted hard, you come get it. If not, stay with it. The defense was set up, the bunt defense, for De La Rosa to cover, then De La to make the throw. Well, it ended up, the ball got by him enough that it allowed Cole to be safe at first, and he had the bases loaded.
Let's see how the Rockies play this. They're shortening up the middle for 2 with nobody out. Ruiz doesn't run well at third base. You get a rocket at one of the infielders, they could very easily, even with this positioning, come home.
Yeah, they're set up now that if you get a double play ball hit up the middle, they're going to turn 2 and give up the run and get 2 outs. If it happens to be hit to the corners, one of the corners, they'll have a play at the plate. Otherwise, they're going to try to turn 2.
Oh, and 1 on Revere, who hit a chopper to third his first time.
And he hasn't had a lot of success in his career with the bases loaded. 158 average.
And this is not hit that hard. Morneau is going to come home with it, and they'll get the force there. So it pays off being even on the corners. 1 out, and the bases remain loaded for Jimmy Rollins.
A lot like his predecessor, Todd Helton, Morneau has a lot of range at first base. Ball's 3 strides over, on the move, a running throw and a strike to Rosario at home plate. They're able to get the out. Ruiz, not a dirty play, but a good play to take his feet out from under him so he doesn't have an opportunity to throw anywhere to any other base.
(3-2) is how you score that in your book. Jimmy Rollins now. He hit a fly ball to right field his first time. And if you get another ground ball, a little easier, even though Jimmy still runs well, a little easier to turn a double play with Rollins out of the right side as opposed to out of the left side naturally.
Not a high average for Rollins with the bases loaded, 248. But in his long, illustrious career, he does have 4 grand slams. Right now, I'd love to see another double play, the 59th turn by the Rockies this year.
And he falls behind as De La Rosa 2-0. At third base is Hernandez. Hamels at second. Revere is now at first. No score, 1 out, and the Phillies third. And Rollins loops this right at Justin Morneau. 2 outs. And you have a great chance of getting out of it if De La Rosa can get the dangerous Chase Utley. He struck him out in the first inning.
Struck him out on a really good changeup down and in. He swung and missed on a slider also.
There's that cutter, George. I mean, how valuable is that pitch behind in the count?
And it's really difficult at times to pick it up from De La Rosa because he'll throw the split that flattens out. It comes in. He'll throw the actual cutter and slider also. There's a good changeup down and in.
You know, some lefties, George, you've forgot more pitching than most people will ever know. Some lefties won't throw their changeup to a lefty.
No, they won't. And just like right-handers won't change speeds and throw it to a right-hander. They just won't do it.
One strike count on Chase Utley. Bases full, 2 outs in the third. Good pitch.
I'll tell you what you do if you're at home and you're a young pitcher with the bases loaded, and this helps you stay under control with your delivery and not get too fast with things. De La Rosa, you see fastball in the outside corner. De La Rosa checks all the runners, deep breath, relax, picks up home plate before he comes to his approach to the plate. And it's very important to pick up your target to where you're throwing the baseball. A lot of guys in this situation start their delivery without focusing on where they're throwing the baseball.
This ball well hit to Carr going left, and he's got room, and he makes the catch. What a job by De La Rosa. He works out of it. Bases loaded, nobody out, and he holds Philadelphia without a run. Well done. All right, Jenny, thank you very much. We go to the fourth inning. The Rockies do not have a base runner as of yet. And they'll restart things with Drew Stubbs against Cole Hamels in the 4th inning. It'll be Stubbs, LeMahieu, and Tulowitzki. Stubbs leading off an inning among major league hitters is number 1. Hitting .500 this year when leading off an inning. Tulowitzki's next at .452. And 0-1 on Stubbs. That first time through the lineup, Cargo hit a line shot to second. Kadire hit the ball to deep right.
And that's about it.
And that's going to be a base hit. Left center field. Getting there quickly is Mayberry, and he'll hold Stubbs to a single. So the Rockies have their first base runner. I'm going to say De La Rosa hit the ball pretty decently, but you're right, George. That was it the first time through against Cole Hamels. But a good start the second time through. Speed aboard and Drew Stubbs. And DJ LeMahieu coming up. Tell you what, the way, you know, Walt's not a big sacrifice guy, but now having DJ in that 2 spot, the way De La Rosa's throwing, you may, and with the offense struggling, you may play for a run right here.
Well, and with him hitting in that 2 spot, just what you said, he's very good with the bat.
Runner going, and Stubbs is going to steal second base, kind of like a delayed steal.
Delayed steal, was it a hit and run? Was that a true DJ swing? I mean, you got to look at the swing too. Very disruptive over the top of a curveball. You know, so you have the curveball. Here's the jump taken off. See, he's looked back hesitation too. So that tells me automatically that he probably had to hit and run on. That great big swing by DJ, that's not a normal swing for him. Trying to make contact with the swing.
The Rockies have Stubbs with nobody out at second. Subaru brings you the manager's challenge. If there's a questionable call, instant replay will be used to determine the outcome. It's brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. And now a bunt, and that one goes foul. 2 strikes on LeMahieu. You know, DJ works the ball to the right side frequently. This is one of those situations you obviously would like to see him work the ball to the right side. Tougher to do when you have a 2-strike count, but his natural swing path is he's really inside out. Doesn't pull the ball that frequently.
Well, with Stubbs' speed, if it's hit to the right side at all, they're going to try to get the out. There's not going to be a play at third. Still wondering why Hernandez is playing even with the bag and even kind of on the line, actually, at third base. Now he's going to back up. Larry Boa handles the defenses for Ryan Sandberg. A lot of times as a coach, you expect kids to know where to be, even major league players that have to be told where they should be defensively.
Hamels naturally trying to bust LeMahieu in. There's Boa. And now it's 3-2. Tulowitzki on deck.
If you're Cole Hamels right now, you're trying to prevent a big inning. You're trying to make a perfect pitch on LeMahieu because the guy in the on-deck circle is pretty good chance he's going to get a run in if you get it to third and 1 out. You're just trying to prevent a big inning. You walk LeMahieu, big fly, and you're down 3-0 in a heartbeat on a guy that's been pitching really well in De La Rosa.
This ball is through the left side, a base hit. Stubbs got to hustle to get to third, and he will. He had to see that through because it was hit sharply enough. And there aren't a lot of guys, George, that still would have been able to move up.
Well, they wouldn't have been. I'm a little surprised that it hesitated as much as he did. Left side, you're going to think and freeze on it of when it was hit and where it was hit. Big hole to the left side. The ball going to get right between the two of them. In recognition that it was not going to get caught on the infield, able to sneak into third base.
And now you're set up nicely. Tulowitzki at the plate. You have wonderful speed at third. You have good speed in DJ LeMahieu at first. Rockies trying to break the ice. It's been 23 innings since they've touched home plate. It's like a foreign land you can't get a flight to.
No, not even on hotwire.com?
Well, maybe there. This is where Troy, I think, George, better than at any point in his career, has really slowed down the at-bats. That ball driven to right, and it's caught. Here comes Stubbs. Here's the throw by Bird. Not going to get him. Stubbs scores standing up on that laser to right, and the drought is over. The Rockies have a run here in the fourth.
Well, you know, when you're hitting well like Tulowitzki is, and you're hitting everything right on the button, sometimes the button backfires. I mean, he hit a laser right at Bird. 5 or 6 feet either way of that thing. It's against the wall. You got a double, maybe a couple of runs out of it, but you do get one, and that's broke the ice, obviously. Stubbs puts the Rockies on top with the run scored. Tulo with the sacrifice fly to right. God, he smoked that ball. 37 RBIs now for Tulowitzki.
One out. LeMahieu at first. Here's Cargo. He had a line shot to Utley his first time up. Tulo with his 37th RBI. That leads the club. Cargo looking for his first long ball since May the 7th. Almost 3 full weeks ago. Look out. DJ takes off, good jump, and it's bounced to second.
Cargo still feeling the effects running up the line of that foul ball right below the knee. It's got pretty good strawberry on it. It's also got a pretty good black and blue bruise up on top of it with a knot. He gets this ball out to second base, and he's still seeing a little gimpy on that right leg where he got hit foul ball early.
So Michael Kadire with a runner in scoring position. DJ with the base hit with Stubbs at second base. Just the second hit for the Rockies on this road trip with the runner in scoring position. They're 2 for 28. That's in on Cuddy. Drove the ball to deep right his first time up. Off the bat, you thought it had a chance to, at the very least, hit the scoreboard, if not get on out of here. 2-0 count. Troy Tulowitzki and Blake Doyle visiting. That 2-0 wasn't to Kadyr's liking. He's seeking a fastball, got a breaking ball. It's 2-1. Cuddy's hitting .440 against lefties. And it's 2-2. Michael at .321 with a couple of home runs since coming off the disabled list. And it's popped up shallow right field. Bird's got it. In the inning, the Rockies get their first run since Saturday night in Atlanta. They have a 1-0 lead, middle of 4.
Bank Park in Philly. Rockies up 1-0 as we go bottom 4. This baseball stadium came about in 2004. That's when the Phillies moved out of Veterans Stadium, which was about that way right behind us. On this day in 1968, Montreal and San Diego came into the National League. Both Montreal and San Diego would play in Qualcomm and Olympic Stadium, Veterans Stadium. There was Riverfront, Three Rivers. Those were known as octarads back in the day, which is basically a super circle. And George, I heard you say this week that you didn't like pitching at Olympic Stadium. My question is, when those stadiums came into being in the early and mid-'70s, was it the big thing, the big rave? Was it exciting?
Well, it's a cookie cutter. We call them the cookie cutters. They were all cut in a circle, just like everything. And then they set them up for football because they'd roll everything out, roll the seats back, baseball, roll them out for football. And no, I didn't like playing in Olympic Stadium. Really, I didn't like playing up there. And the old park was nice. Same thing in Toronto. The new ballpark obviously was a lot nicer. The old ballpark out on the lake was freezing. But I didn't like playing in those places. And it wasn't necessarily the stadium, the carpet, the dugouts, the locker rooms. It was the guys they put in the lineups what I didn't like. When you went into Pittsburgh with Stargell and Parker and those guys in Sanguian, pretty good teams to go face all the time. And then, of course, when you went to Philadelphia, they had Mike Schmidt. I might have a play here. Mike Schmidt and that group here in Philly that were so good, Lozinski. I mean, they had some guys really swing the bat here. Pete Rose was here at the time, DeJesus. It was scary. And then you go into Cincinnati, you get crushed, Big Red Machine. It wasn't fun pitching in those towns on AstroTurf.
In all seriousness, you're absolutely right. Not only were we playing on those fast surfaces that were really hard, but the lineups you're facing, man, it seemed like a Hall of Famer every other guy, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, and I haven't gone back. I've wanted to do this in the last, I think I've played with like 14 Hall of Famers as a player, but I want to go back and see how many guys in recent years that I pitched against, because there's been a lot, but it's been a lot of fun to face some of those guys. I mean,
he could hit, by the way. Richie Allen.
Oh, stop it. And then there's guys that you looked at in there in the lineups that, like a Greg Luzinski, the Bull. I mean, this guy was unbelievable here. He literally could not outrun a fire hydrant, but God, he could hit it a long ways.
Fire hydrants don't move, George.
Right, that's exactly right. I
like that line.
That's pretty good.
That's
but I'm going to tell you something about Luzinski. Now, he could hit it. Man, he could hit it a long way.
There's a picture on the wall. Eric Young's trying to move his outfield a little bit. There's a picture on the wall of Luzinski. Here's the 2-2 on Bird. Just missed 3-2. And you want to talk about barrel-chested, big old forearms.
Huge. Well, people don't realize this, and Steve Carlton, for those of you who see him around Durango, at the time they had a weight strength guy named Gus Hoffling that went over to Japan. He was an 8th-degree black belt. And Steve, if you're listening, you'd probably correct me. I know he may have more belts than that. I don't know if there'll be a play on this. There won't be. And so one of Big Gus's things was a rice barrel, and kids today use it a lot. It's 50-gallon drum or whatever it is, 5-gallon drum or rice barrel. Steve's the only guy I ever seen to go to the bottom of it. Of all of them, Luzinski, Schmidt, all of them, Steve Carlton was the one that went to the bottom. That was a strong man.
You know who was of modern-day players? I should say modern-day players, current players, who is really good at that? Matt Holliday.
Yeah, I know. See, and I'm going to have to see it to believe it, because I didn't believe Carlton until he showed me.
Another 3-2, and the strikeout of Bird. Great pitching by De La Rosa. That's the second punch out for Jorge.
Very good location of the pitch, too. The funniest thing, Billy Martin used to have pitchers meetings, and he'd always say, and we'd all be sitting in there, and he'd go, okay, who's the hottest hitter they got? And he'd say Luzinski. We're playing the White Sox. All right, Rags, hit him, meaning Dave Righetti. All right, hit him. Meeting's over. So, he used to have quick turnarounds, right? So we're in New York, and he tells Rags, hit him. Now we're going to Chicago. Rags is pitching again. It's like 2 weeks later. All right, who's the hottest hitter? And he goes, Luzinski. Rags goes, is there anybody? How come Ozzie Guillen can't get hot? Why is it always got to be Luzinski? The baby bull heading out to the house. Yeah, you didn't want him coming to get you.
This ball's hit high and deep left field, and Cargo is not going to have a play. Darren Ruff has hit it out. His 18th career home run, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, he hit 38 home runs in 2012 in Reading at Double-A and was brought to the big leagues, where he hit 3 home runs and had 10 RBIs. Last year with Philadelphia, he had 73 games. He had 14 home runs. His first of 2014, a high drive into left field. A first-row drop shot.
That's the first run allowed by De La Rosa in 16 innings. That's how good.
Basically 3 starts.
Been going. Yeah, really.
And it's still going. That's how good he's been going and still going.
1-0 on John Mayberry. They want to come inside. Wells Fargo customers, get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets today by going to wellsfargo.com/Rockies. Wells Fargo Bank, member FDIC.
Yeah, you're talking about all those Phillies and Pirates and Cincinnati teams. It wasn't fun going into New York either. Shea had, at that time, Dave Kingman. Then all of a sudden, a young group of players came through with Strawberry, Mookie Wilson. They had speed. They had power. They had good pitching.
And they went and got Keith Hernandez, Gary Carter.
Right. Fernandez. Sid was there. Fernandez, the left-hander, along with Doc Gooden.
You ever see a lefty who threw 88 get more swings and misses than Fernandez?
The guy that's the announcer in Chicago right now that worked down in Houston, Jim DeShays, did that. Got away with it, but it was like 85. And he did a good job with it, too. The ball looked like it was coming out of the center of the chest of Sid. It was always say because that unorthodox Unorthodox arm delivery he had.
2-2. He's always among the league leaders in punch-outs.
I'll tell you what, Toronto Blue Jays hitting a lot of home runs, scoring a lot of runs.
Edwin Encarnacion, Frage. Today's the 27th. Through the first 26 days of May, he's hit 13 home runs.
Amazing.
They have a couple of guys they've picked up that were okay in other cities, but not big stars, that have become star-level players. Jose Bautista and Edwin Encarnacion.
Melky Cabrera, another.
Yeah, I mean, he had that really good year with the Giants.
Yeah, but I mean, he had the PED thing and everything, suspension and all that, and he's come back, and all of a sudden now he's performing pretty good.
3-2 on Mayberry with 1 out. Mayberry hitting just 150 at home, and he fouls that cutter off. Got him. Good pitching. De La Rosa strikes out Mayberry on a 3-2 pitch. He got Bird on a 3-2 pitch. Ruff hit a home run in between. And now with 2 outs, Carlos Ruiz will come up. 3 strikeouts for De La Rosa.
If you're one of the first 10,000 on Tuesday, June 10th, you're going to receive a coupon for a $1 hot dog. Get your tickets for this ball game against the Atlanta Braves. You can do it a couple of ways. You can call the Rockies at 303-ROCKIES or go to Rockies.com/promotions, and it'll guide you through that way to get your tickets for that ball game.
Ruiz had a soft single to right, the first hit against De La Rosa. That came leading off the 3rd inning. And in that inning, the Phillies would load the bases with nobody out, and De La Rosa worked out of it. He got Revere on a chopper to first. Morneau came home. Rollins a jam shot to first, and then Utley a deep fly ball to left. Ruiz just 2 for 11 against the Rockies this year. Good numbers against De La Rosa, however. Here's the 1-1. Just a smidgen high, and it's 2-1. And 3-1. And that's off the plate. First walk for De La Rosa. That'll bring up Cesar Hernandez.
Well, if you get Ruiz out, you almost feel like you have the pitcher up the slump that Hernandez is in, even though he dumped a single out to right field. You see the strike zone there. Previous batter, Ruiz, very close with a lot of those pitches. That's why De La Rosa gave a couple of glances back to the home plate area. Yeah, get Hernandez, you got Cole Hamel leading off the next inning.
Hernandez turned 24 a few days ago, native of Venezuela, and he takes low ball 1. Hit .289 last year in 34 games with the Phils. Smattering of Rockies fans here. Spring training hat on that gentleman in front. runner going, and it's fouled off. Well, that's kind of a risky play down in the bottom of the order. I mean, Ruiz, if Hernandez swings and misses, in all likelihood Rosario is going to throw him out.
Well, this year Ruiz with two stolen bases only been caught once. He kind of picks his spot as he's running down to second base. It was a hit and run put on right here. Watch, when he hears contact, he wants to look back and see where the ball is. A lot of times when the hit and run's on, they'll look back to see where the ball, if it was hit, missed, if there's going to be a throw through, what do they got to do? Versus straight steal, you're just flying.
Culberson to LeMahieu, and that's all for the Phils in the 4th inning. De La Rosa gave up a home run to Darren Ruff to tie it. It's 1-1 as we go to the 5th. Shaw Subaru. Please enjoy our time in Philadelphia, a historic city in the Northeast. Had a little weather earlier. Starting time pushed back about an hour and 20 minutes to 8:25. De La Rosa's pitched well. Hamels has pitched well. The Rockies got a run off Hamels last inning, their first run in 23 innings. And now Justin Morneau, Willeen Rosario, and Charlie Culberson in the 5th. Hamels came in 4 for 8 against, or Morneau 4 for 8 against Hamels all time.
Two very hard cutters. The last more of a slider, had a lot of depth to it. Hamels really repeats his delivery. Changeup asked for. Out in front, fouled in foul territory. And what I mean by that, you watch, if you're a young pitcher at home, you watch his delivery. It is a solid short step back. It's not a great big one. And then the left lead leg is brought up perfectly in time, and his front side stays very firm. On line to the target.
This ball down the left field line and leaking foul.
You see that now. Watch that lead. The lead foot's going to have a short step back, so you're not out of direction quite a bit. And the leg comes up. You're very well balanced going forward, and it frees it as his arm comes out and separates there. See how he is on line, everything straight towards the home plate area, and then very level on it with his shoulders. Not a lot of drop on the backside. That's for a guy his height, he gives you an advantage with that leverage to work in a downhill plane.
Hamels out of Rancho Bernardo High School in the San Diego area. Drafted in the 1st round by the Phils back in 2002. He's the 17th pick overall. And what was interesting is he didn't pitch at all his junior year. He had a broken humerus bone in his left arm.
Funny bone?
That's a big bone. It's,
I know it is.
That's the upper part of your arm.
That's, there's a young man at Oklahoma this year, Alec Hansen, that signed out of Loveland, went to University of Oklahoma. Apparently had some pins or something in his out, and he got it out. And, man, he threw the ball great this year for Oklahoma, up to 98 miles an hour with a hammer. There's another kid, Chase Williams, the Rockies took in the draft about 4 years ago, that fractured, just what you're talking about. He came back, Eastern Community College, should go fairly high in the draft. He signed to go to Wichita State. Another one of the Rocky draft picks, Chase Williams, he was up to 97 this spring. So you can recover from that type of thing. Difficult, but you can. Drew, you're getting ready to enjoy some of the best years of your life, and that's high school baseball with your son Jacob playing and starting to see all the talent throughout the state of Colorado as he plays and travels. You'll have that opportunity to see a lot of the ball games. And, it's great to see the talent that comes out of each state, Colorado, whether it's there, Oklahoma, wherever you go. You travel a lot into California, to East Cobb, into those tournaments as you get older, and the Junior Olympic tournament in Phoenix on June 22nd. But you get to watch this talent. And then as a broadcaster, you look up and go, I remember that guy. I saw him about 7 years ago in a high school tournament. Here he is in the big leagues.
Goes quick, doesn't it? This ball line foul. Good at bat by Morneau. He's worked it full. You experience the same thing with Parker, who's now pitching in the White Sox organization.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of fun to see these kids and see them grow up. Dallas Keuchel, 6-2, looks to be an all-star with the Houston Astros. Around him since he was 3 years old, and then worked with him all winter long. It's a lot of fun to see the progression of these guys.
Morneau grounds to second. That'll bring up Rosario, who grounded to third his first time up. Who wants tacos? Remember, when the Rockies score 7 runs or more during any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special. Lip Moss at Taco Bell. Rosario owns 5 career home runs here at Citizens Bank Park. Had a hit in each of his first 14 games of his career against the Phils. Batting .389 with 7 home runs. And this is popped up. Ruiz will have another play.
You're in no man's land, too. This tough play for a catcher. Throw the mask away, which he did about 25 feet. I think sometimes for catchers, they get too excited and take off running. They'll overrun the baseball or get too far. It's going to come back to you eventually. You see those veteran guys like Ruiz toss the helmet and just kind of walk back to the area and follow the ball back to you. Good job.
Did you ever have an instructor, any coach you ever played with, that could regularly, I mean regularly, after infield, hit the foul pop for the catcher?
Dick Birmingham.
He could do it?
Coach. Yeah, it's unbelievable. And he had those little bottlenecks, like that little Coke bottleneck fungo.
Overson
over and over
it
again.
Off.
He used to bet a Coke on it with all of us.
That's a talent. Most guys, it's hard to do consistently.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Even today, when I try to do it, I'm about 2 out of every 10.
You foul him straight back,
or I hit a line drive to center field.
Exactly. That's why in spring training they just load up the machine.
Well, or in spring training when they take infield, even in high school, I see a lot of coaches in high school, they'll just throw it straight in the air with their hand, throw it up in the air about as high as they can and walk away and let the guy catch it and go, hey, that looks good enough to me, you caught it.
Yeah, but as you know, and you pointed out, when you get in the game, that ball has so much backspin on it. That's why catchers, turn around, that if you settle underneath it, it's going to land 3 feet behind.
We see it every day. I mean, you see it in baseball all the time on highlights. Blooper shows where the ball's missed by the catcher.
This ball's pretty well struck to center field. Revere coming on will make the catch. And the Rockies go in order in the 5th. The Rockies won and the Phils won. Middle of 5. Rocks and Phils tied at 1 as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. And Carlos Gonzalez has come out of the ball game. Corey Dickerson is in for him. And he made note of the fact that he jogged up the line pretty slowly after back in the 2nd inning, George. He fouled the ball off his leg in the knee area. He stayed in the game for 3 more innings. And it's obviously tightened up on him. He just dealt with one thing after another the last
it's going to give you a shot at what we saw earlier in the ball game. They're talking to him a little bit. You can see right below his pant leg, folks. I mean, you can see the bruise, the knot. It's pretty obvious. It was very and a lot of discomfort.
And the interesting thing, though, is Dickerson, not Barnes, because you have Hamels from the left side, which to me would indicate potentially that maybe something's not right with Barnes.
Well, here's what it potentially says to me. And, of course, I mean, you make a point also. Barnes is one of your better pinch hitters off of the bench. If they go to a left-hander in the 7th and 8th inning out of their bullpen, you can pinch hit if you need to down your lineup. If you want to, as a right-handed pinch hitter, left on left, Dickerson's done okay. So now you leave him in the ball game to go to left field. You save your best pinch hitter for later part of the ball game versus burning him now, and then you tie yourself up because you'd only have Rutledge and Pacheco. Pacheco you don't put in till 9th inning to pinch hit. Bastardo more than likely is going to come in, him or Diekman, later in this ball game. Just guessing along.
One and one on Cole Hamels, a good athlete. He had a bunt base hit. He was trying to sacrifice, but it was such a good bunt that he ended up reaching on it for a single. 1 and 2. It's our Toyota Talk inning. What do you like about replays in baseball so far? What would you change? Go Rockies. Well, I like that they ultimately get the calls right. I mean, I think back to a couple of days ago, and it was a big run. The Rockies beat Atlanta 3-1. Culberson, a creative slide. Great play by Charlie. And at first he was called out, and then they looked at it on review. Walt went out, and they changed the call when they realized that he did beat the tag by Evan Gattis. And that was a big run. So, that, that's what I like best about it.
Well, they get it through pretty quick. There's not a long delay in between. And if there is, it's because they're really having a tough time making sure they do get it right. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think any negatives right now. This is bounced to Morneau. De La Rosa gets over, 1 out. De La Rosa just continues to pitch exceptional baseball. How do you calculate slugging percentage? It's total bases divided by at-bats. And if you've forgotten what total bases are, unfamiliar, you get 1 for a single, 2 for a double, 3 for a triple, and obviously 4 total bases if you hit a home run. And that excludes walks. Here's Ben Revere, and that's a strike. I'll tell you a quick story about Ben. He grew up in Georgia primarily, went to high school in Lexington. His older brother,
Paul?
No, that would not. Paul was not his older brother. You crack yourself up, don't you? His older brother went to Georgia.
Fun with the story.
No, his older brother went to Georgia Southern and was drafted by the Rockies after his junior year. He decided to return to Georgia Southern for his senior year. Got dinged up a little bit. Unfortunately, didn't get drafted again, but he was drafted by the Rockies. Here's the 0-2 on Ben, and it's hit on the ground at third. Low throw, good pickup.
That's where you get into a habit at third base, and you've seen a lot of third basemen do it. When they pick the baseball, they just want to flip it over their sidearm. When you throw it sidearm, a lot of times you throw the diving sinker instead of getting on top of the baseball. See, watch right here. He's going to get it. He knows he's got a little bit of speed, but I'm going to give him a little sidearm flip over there. basically you're creating a downward motion on the baseball. And we've seen the other side of it where you stay behind it, get your elbow up flush with the shoulder and fire it, and you keep it right on the line like a clothesline.
By the way, Michael
I obviously
Kadire,
like the other.
Yeah, Michael Kadire continues to take ground balls almost every day at third base.
Well, you never know. Double switches, late games, you never know. He may have to go to third at some point.
Maybe they throw him out there for a start. Who knows? George Frazier, it would be a Z, but we know who you're talking about. What was your favorite pitch when you were playing?
You know what? Probably hard slider. I just felt like that was I could place it both sides of the plate, the back foot to the left-handers. But my old high school coach heard me talk about him earlier in the telecast. He said, "What's the best pitch?" Strike one.
Rollins takes low. It's 2-1 on Jimmy. Jimmy Rollins a Hall of Famer, George?
He's heading that way. In this day and age, the 3,000 hit barrier I don't think really matters. I think the MVPs do. I think the Gold Gloves do. But as far as like 300 wins, 3,000 hits, those kind of things, I don't think they're as prevalent to you getting in as much as what it used to be.
That pitch just off the plate.
If that's the case, Biggio would have got in on first vote. Next question.
All right, George.
Did you have any teammates you didn't get along with, but did not enough to bite them? Talking about biting the ear off, Miguel Olivo did that the other day to his teammate in Albuquerque. I had a few teammates I didn't really care for, but I'm going to tell you something for kids at home. Even though you have teammates you dislike and you're with them 162 days a year, got 162 games plus another 30 games in spring training, it's about what happened across the white lines. You're not married to the guy. He's not going home with you. It's about what you do when you cross those white lines. You make sure you're a 25-man team here to win a baseball game. And playing with the Yankees, playing with the Cubs even, you could have some dissension at times. And but they were still there to win baseball games, and that's what matters. That's all that matters, is winning a game at this level.
Jimmy Rollins walks. Chase Utley will come up. Is there a more competitive division this year than the National League West? Good question from Sarah in Greeley.
I mean, I can't think of another one unless you look over and stare at the possibly look at the American League East, which is it's going to get pretty competitive over there of what's going on with Toronto, Boston, New York, Tampa, Baltimore.
Boston's been awful.
Well, they have been awful, but they're not going to be awful all year.
Toronto leads the division, to your point right now, George, at 30-22. They've won 7 straight. The Yankees are playing much better. They've won 3 in a row coming into tonight. Baltimore 26-23. The division isn't bad either. Again, is that American League West with Oakland, the Angels, Texas somehow with all the injuries, a game over 500 also, and Seattle's at 500.
Seattle, after getting Cano and other players and making the moves, they've got to, in my opinion, they've got to win this year. Biggest surprise for me in baseball has been Arizona Diamondbacks, to be honest with you, the way they've played, or the lack of the way they've played. And everybody says, well, why don't you say the Rockies? Well, I'm not surprised by the way they played. I thought they were a good team to begin with.
Utley came up with 2 outs and the bases loaded in the 3rd inning. De La Rosa quickly got ahead of him, 2 strikes, and then Utley hit a fly ball to deep left field that Cargo caught to end the threat. Bases loaded, nobody out initially, and De La Rosa didn't give up a run. And this is slowly hit to second. This will be a glove play. Well done. DJ does that really well. Guys practice that, playing flip. And if DJ tries to make the transfer from leather to his bare hand, he's not going to get Utley. Great play by DJ. About free checking is proud to support the home team. Sign up at efirstbank.com. Well, in the game, it's a 1-1 affair. Darren Ruff, we apologize. We'll get you that graphic in a moment. Darren Ruff's hit a home run for Philadelphia, and the Rockies got a run on a sac fly, really a sac line drive off the bat of Troy Tulowitzki to score Drew Stubbs, who had gotten the first hit for the Rockies against Cole Hamels in the 4th inning. Rockies have a couple of hits. The Phils have 4 hits. It's 1-1 with De La Rosa leading off in the 6th already. Jorge hit the ball pretty solidly to center his first time up.
To the surprise of Cole Hamels, he turned around and looked at Ruiz like, did I just make a bad pitch? Because he hit on the button line drive to center field. He thought he would get the strikeout of De La Rosa. Didn't take a chance there. Threw him a nasty slider. One you might see to Carlos Gonzalez for a strikeout. He gets it on De La Rosa.
Here's the first bank numbers. Drew Stubbs comes around to score on the Tulowitzki sac fly, and the Rockies ended that drought at 23 innings. As expected, it's been well pitched between that man Cole Hamels and Jorge De La Rosa. Ball, 2 strikes on Stubbs. And a called strike 3. Second time in the game in virtually the same spot. Brian Gorman is called out. Drew Stubbs.
If you don't already receive Hot Rocks emails, you are missing out on the best ticket deals around. The only way to receive the email is to become a Rockies registered user. Go to Rockies.com and register today, right now.
LeMahieu bounces one toward the hole. Jimmy Rollins. Wow. He can still do it. We've seen great shortstop play on this trip. Troy Tulowitzki we see every day. Andrelton Simmons in Atlanta, and Gold Glover Jimmy Rollins. Great play. 4, 5, and 6 for Philadelphia. Rockies trying to bounce back after losing 9-0 last night. They lost on Sunday in Atlanta 7-0. Time for you to tweet us your Rockies fan photos. Use the hashtag COFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown during an upcoming game broadcast. It's brought to you each night by AT&T. Marlon Byrd, a fly ball to center field and a strikeout. I was talking to Byrd before the ball game, and it's funny how hitters are when they don't have good memories of a pitcher. Sometimes they don't recall exactly what they've done. And Marlon's always very honest. Good guy to visit with. And I said, how have you done with De La Rosa? He said, oh, man, he changes speeds well. He's been tough. He goes, I don't think I've ever gotten a hit against him. And actually, he was 2 for 7 coming into the ball game, so he had a couple of hits.
Pretty weak hits, though, I'm sure. I mean, he just feels like you always remember as a hitter and as a pitcher. You don't remember the home runs given up, but you remember where you dominated a guy and how maybe how good they couldn't hit the slider, didn't like sinker in under the hands. I mean, whatever it is.
De La Rosa gets a pitch on the extreme inner half that's pulled foul, so it's 1-1. Byrd had options to go, he thought, back to Pittsburgh or back to the New York Mets, and Philadelphia was early in the pursuit of him and very aggressive. This is a hot pop-up.
Hey, you go where you wanted, and they offered the deepest contract. He had a lot of local ties here, and why not? Just head back over there and play.
Now to bring up Darren Ruff, we thank you for tweeting us your questions to Toyota Talk. For more answers to your questions, visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/RootSportsRM. Ruff hit a towering home run to left center his last time up. First home run of the year, first hit of the year since coming back to the big leagues. He's been up before. It was his 18th career home run. He's a product of Creighton. He's a Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year his final season at Creighton. Good baseball program, good academic school in Omaha.
There have been 3 separate times that he's been to the big leagues. Came up out of Double-A when he hit 38 home runs there. Sent back down last year, back up again, and then back down this year, and then back up again. So starting to push that envelope and running out of options to go to the minor leagues.
2-0 on Ruff. Big, strong guy. Strike one. Hey, was he playing in that game, George, the first game you and I worked together in Creighton?
I don't think so. Kenny Steenstra started for Wichita State. That's how far back it goes. And we had to interview him right after the end of the game.
Remember the first baseman for Creighton reached the big leagues, I think, with Minnesota, Stahovovich. Pronouncing that right?
No, that's you didn't. I know what you're saying, Stahovovich. But he did make it.
Stahoviak.
Yeah, he did make it with the Twins.
Scott Stahoviak.
Yep. There were some other guys. I'd have to go back and look at the 88 team.
2-2
for Wichita. There was quite a few players on that team that made it.
Tyler Green was on that team back in the late 80s out of Denver.
Doug's looking it up right now. I know he is.
Oh, you know what? Mike Fox is board, our director, so he's saying this is Darren's biggest fan. Darren Ruff's biggest fan.
I get you, Foxy. I'm all in with you, buddy.
2-2. That is dirty. How about that cutter down and in?
Yeah, a guy hits a home run from you. Young kid does. You want to take up and say, hey, you know what? You got a pitch to hit last time. I'm not giving you a pitch to hit this time. Hard slider down and in under the hands. Strike 3. Much like a right-hander's back foot slider, that left-handed to a right-handed hitter. Hard to hit.
4 strikeouts for De La Rosa. 83 total pitches here with 2 outs in the 6th inning. He's played his role as he typically does to the hilt. John Mayberry takes a pitch just off the plate, ball 1. De La Rosa with the league batting average against a .211 coming in, which is 7th best. And after the slow start to the season, it's even better than that. It's around .201. In fact, you can track it back to that grand slam that Madison Bumgarner hit against him in San Francisco early in the season. Since that ball left the ballpark, he has an ERA of 2.03, a whip of basically 1. And he's pitched a whole lot like the 2-time 16-game winner. 1 ball, 1 strike on John Mayberry. Stayed off that slider. Belial beginning to throw. De La Rosa's not due up next inning.
Yeah, he's got 86 pitches right now. That's probably the reason Belial has started to get up and get going. It also could be, to help loosen up a little bit on a damp, humid night here after the rain. There are quite a few guys from Creighton that have made it. Stahoviak was with, I thought, Wichita State.
No, he was with Creighton.
Dan Smith, another guy that made it. Scott Service, who is now the farm director for Jerry DePoto and the Angels. Tom Dries is another one that made it. Alan Bennis made it.
And DJ's not going to be able to get there. Kadire will have to field it on a couple of bounces. 2-out single from Mayberry off the end of the bat. Carlos Ruiz will hit next. Remember when every time we announced the crowd here in Philadelphia was 40-something thousand?
It doesn't happen anymore.
23,159.
And the weather didn't help. But last night, what was it last night? Look in the book and see. I know you wrote it down.
Last night was a little more than 27,000, I believe, if I remember right.
But on a holiday.
Yeah, 27,285. Oh, yeah, I mean, they had a long sellout string.
Yeah, they had a long string of success, too, with Charlie Manuel as a manager.
Ruiz takes a strike. Mentioned Cliff Lee in this series so far. He's on the disabled list with elbow discomfort.
Tomorrow, Roberto Hernandez will make the start in place of Lee.
Cliff Lee. That's a strike 2. 0-2 on the 35-year-old catcher from Panama, Carlos Ruiz. Best year 2012. He hit .325 with 16 home runs and 68 driven in. An all-star that season. One and two. Yeah, that sellout streak ended in 2012 in August at 257. At the time, it was a National League record. It has since been broken this year, in fact, by the San Francisco Giants. It's more than three straight years of selling out this stadium.
Giants, California made me think of Vince Scully. Good, Vince, if you're laying at home watching, I know you got under the weather a little bit with a head cold, going to have to miss a couple of ball games. A bad chest cold, apparently. Get well soon, Vinny.
Absolutely. And that's a base hit.
He's on base now 3 times in the ball game, a couple of hits and a walk.
Bring up Cesar Hernandez. Hernandez is 1 for 2. Auto glass issues, call Safelight 303-287-5000, online at safelight.com. A bloop single and a punch single.
Tell you what, pretty good velocity there. Threw the ball right by him.
Oh, and 2. It's Cole Hamels. Hopefully he has to wait an inning to hit.
Unfortunately, yeah, he will wait an inning, but he probably won't hit. It'd be nice to whoever's going to hit to wait an inning to come up.
I'm with you.
I'm not sure they'd let him hit if the bases got loaded, although there's nobody going down in their bullpen right now. Oh, man. Thought it went right into the stands, and man and his son were sitting there, and it hit right between them, bounced right back out again. Hey, Pat, no, I'm all right. Well, no, you didn't bounce. It bounced off of him. Fans are tough in Philly, I'm telling you.
Yeah, they are. Because those punch hits, De La Rosa, instead of exiting this inning with the pitch count in the high 80s, he's closing in on 100 pitches.
That's the reason you got Matt Belisle getting after it pretty good down in the bullpen.
And it also may, we'll see, eliminate the possibility of De La Rosa continuing in the 7th. Rockies like to stay pretty close to that. It's not a hard and fast rule, but somewhere in that 100-105 range. Shattered bat. Culberson cuts in front and just in time gets it to DJ. 2 late hits, 2 men left aboard, 1-1 as we go to the 7th. to you by T-Mobile Tuesday Night Baseball and by Specialty Appliance by Smarter. So here's the deal in Philadelphia. The Rockies and Phils are knotted up one apiece in the 7th inning. Hamels and De La Rosa in a pitcher's duel. Tulowitzki, Dickerson, and Kadire. Dickerson for Carlos Gonzalez, who had to leave after 2 at-bats. He fouled a ball off his leg in his first at-bat, stayed in the ball game, hit one more time, and the calf swelled up on him, and he could not continue. So Tulowitzki and Dickerson will have his first AB against Cole Hamels. Troy with his 37th RBI, a line drive to right that scored Drew Stubbs, who led off the 4th inning with a base hit. DJ LeMahieu had singled behind him. It looked like the Rockies were going to have a little bigger inning. 2 singles and then that line shot by Tulowitzki. Unfortunately, was right at Bird. And Cargo grounded out, and Kadire hit a fly ball to right. One ball, one strike. Boone Logan up for the Rockies. Down the line, fair ball, knocked down, long throw, Hernandez, and Tulowitzki out at first. Pretty good play.
Here it is, knocked down at third base, comes up with it, and then the strong throw over to first base in time to get Tulowitzki.
So Corey Dickerson with a .326 road average will come up.
Go to the ballpark early on Sunday, June 8th, as the first 15,000 will receive a Sasquatch bobblehead gnome, courtesy of Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Arrive early. Gates will open 2 hours prior to the ball game. You ever gone Sasquatch hunting?
You asked me that the other day.
You said yes this morning at breakfast after we got back from running. Well, let me rephrase that.
Figure
after
out.
You got back from me watching you run by the hotel.
Yeah.
How's that? Is that better?
There were 2 white lies you told in that statement. You want to identify them?
You didn't go hunting and I didn't go running.
2-0 on Dickerson. And Corey with a 3-0 count. The big 3 here in Philadelphia was Hamels, Cliff Lee, and Roy Halladay.
Well, if Halladay wouldn't have retired, you would have had the big 3 anyway. Just the injuries couldn't come back from.
Ball 4. So Dickerson earns a walk. That's the first walk allowed. Just the 3rd base runner for the Rockies. Borderline pitch, called the ball, 1 out, and that'll bring up Kadire. The day after every Rockies win, get 40% off your online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code ROCKSWIN at papajohns.com. Boy, the way they think this thing's unfolding, 2 may be the winning number. changes speeds, and Michael out front 0-1. Yesterday was only the 5th time this year the Rockies have lost a game by 5+ runs. They've lost 2 in a row by big scores. 7-0 on Sunday, 9-0 yesterday. Rockies are in 2 cities where getting wins has always been difficult. We detailed how tough it's been in Atlanta. The Rockies here in Philadelphia have lost 19 of their last 23. One and two.
Where he relied on fastball command very early. He's also started to mix the change more prevalent in these last 3 innings to right-handed hitters.
And if you could throw 2 pitches, and he's throwing 3 with the breaking ball for strikes consistently, it's a handful for a hitter.
Not for Ruiz, though. It makes it very nice to sit back and catch everybody. If that ball's down, it probably rings him up.
Two and two with Dickerson at first. Morneau on deck. Two, missed off speed, and it's 3-2.
Still nobody in the Phillies bullpen throwing with 1 out in a 3-2 count. And as a manager, you can go too far with it. And Hamels is to lead off the next inning. He's pitching into the 7th inning, yet nobody down in their bullpen ready to go. You wonder if Ryan Sandberg is talking with Bob McClure and Larry Boa on what direction to go to. You just can't let it go too deep, though, but then you don't have a guy able to get loose quick enough.
Put Dickerson in motion here.
Well, you don't have a ground ball guy at the plate. Typically line drive fly ball out of Kadire. So if he does, early in the count, you might put him in motion because Kadire can hit and run. But now putting him in motion, you stay out of the double play ball.
He wasn't moving, and that pitch is outside, and now they're 2 on for Morneau. Good at bat for Kadire. We were talking about the Rockies struggling of late offensively. Walt Weiss was asked a number of questions about that today, and here's how he responded.
I talk about the cycles of a season, and I think out of the gate we were able to keep 5, 6, sometimes 7 guys hot at the same time, and you're not going to sustain that. I think that this is just one of those rough patches in the season offensively, where the big hit has been avoiding us. We've had a hard time getting the big hit.
Aptly put by Walt. They have not gotten a big hit in a while. Maybe this is one. Deep center field. Boy, this ball didn't go anywhere.
Remember, it rained a lot, so you got the airs heavy right now. Off the bat, it sounded much better. But because of the heavy air, it's not going to travel.
So just a deep drive to center field. Not even as deep as I thought. Honestly, off the bat, I thought that's over Revere's head. He plays fairly shallow as it is. So they're 2 gone. Dickerson moved up. And that'll bring up Rosario, who's 0 for 2. Rockies still have not had an extra base hit since that double Saturday night that bounced over the third baseman's head off the bat at Charlie Culberson in the 7th. That's almost 3 straight games, or 26 innings now, without one. This ball deep right field. Is it deep enough? Yep. Yeah, you bet. There's the big hit Walt was talking about. Willeen Rosario, opposite field, 3-run jack. That That's exactly what he was talking about. And boy, did the baby bull ever need that.
Had been marred in a slump, and a lot of balls hit hard, some balls not. This was right field power that Rosario showed. That dugout couldn't be any happier right now for their catcher, Willeen Rosario, on this home run. Big swing by a strong man. Stayed fundamentally sound to it. You could see the arms outstretched. By Nolan Arenado when it left the ballpark, and it got to the first row. That's all it needed to reach to put the Rockies on top 4-1.
Two strikes on Culberson. You know, his first at bat, a little out front, looked out of sorts again. Rosario grounds out to third, then he fouled out to the catcher.
You look at the line score tomorrow for Cole Hamels, and you're going to go, wow. You kidding? 7 innings, just 3 hits given up. The walks hurt him in this game, particularly this inning. 2 walks and a 3-run shot by Rosario.
Yeah, his first 2 walks, in fact, for Rosario. That snapped an 0 for 15 slide. What a time for it. Rockies up 4-1. A 3-run home run by Willeen Rosario, who'd been in a little bit of a slump. He was 0 for his last 15. It's his 6th career home run at Citizens Bank Park. Again, what a time for it. Let's check tonight's T-Mobile game changer. Well, guess what? You just witnessed it. Opposite field bomb from Willeen Rosario. For the baby bull, it's his 6th home run of the year, checking his 5th home run of the year. And the Rockies now have a 4-1 lead. That play was a game changer. So we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Jorge De La Rosa, a chance to get another victory. He'll give way to Boone Logan here. Logan will face Tony Gwynn, who will pinch hit.
He is their #1 pinch hitter on their ball club with the number of at-bats. He's 2 for 16 as a pinch hitter.
So Boone Logan to Tony Gwynn. And that pitch is down low, ball 1. De La Rosa over his last 7 games. Listen to these numbers, folks. 40 innings pitched, a 180 ERA. He's allowed just 27 hits. And tonight he goes 6 innings, allows the single run on the home run by Darren Ruff. 5 other really weak singles. A couple of walks and 4 strikeouts. And the reason I'm saying weak singles is literally there were a couple of bleeders and a couple of bloops to the right side. The one ball that was hit well was obviously the home run by Ruff.
If you look out in the Rockies bullpen, you'll see Juan Nicasio throwing right now. He's to start the first game of the series in Cleveland. With the rain today would have been a normal bullpen flat ground day. But because of the rain, the bullpen's got covered up. That's when you would throw it as the first half of batting practice. Well, when it got covered up, Nicasio came here. Now he's getting his light bullpen in prior to throwing with the off day Thursday.
One and 2 the count on Tony Gwynn. One right-handed bat on the bench for Philadelphia, the backup catcher from Rocky Will Nieves. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Boone's been such a great addition to that Rockies bullpen. Signed a 3-year free agent deal in the offseason last year with the Yankees. Three and 2. Mario Hollins, one of 3 left-handers for Philadelphia, throwing. And a ground ball fair, easy enough for Morneau. 1 out. As the pinch hitter Gwynn is retired, and that'll bring up another lefty, Ben Revere. The Ford Strike Zone is powered by Built Ford Tough trucks. Built better, built stronger, Built Ford Tough. No wonder Ford F-Series are the best-selling trucks 37 years straight. Ben Revere tonight is 0 for 3. He's got strong ties to Denver. Ben takes strike 1. His grandmother lives in Denver, so he comes out frequently. In fact, he went to the Broncos-Chargers game last year. Grew up with, went to high school with Wesley Woodyard, good friend of his. Wesley's moved on, but had a real good career with the Broncos as a linebacker. And Ben's grandma, big baseball fan. Watches a lot of Rockies games. Obviously watches her grandson play quite a bit on satellite also. Here's the 1-1, and this ball's well hit to right field. Did he do that? That's his first career home run. It's 4-2. Let's see if they give him the silent treatment in the dugout. He had gone over 1,400 at bats in his career, 1,461 without hitting a home run. Let's see how they treat him. Yeah, he's getting the silent treatment. Look at this. Oh,
Well, it lasts for a few minutes, not for a long time.
Now they're going to beat him up. He won't be able to go.
Logan on a 3-2K. Don't want to walk guys, but he got a fastball out over the plate. Revere, now used to having to run slow. He thought it wasn't going to get out. He took off flying out of the box.
Well, when you haven't hit one, I guess at 1,461 at bats.
First row it got caught on.
You're not going to pimp it, that's for sure. Jimmy Rollins takes a strike. 4-2. Now how big was that 3-run home run by Rosario? He actually was prepared for it. George Yanko believed this, but earlier today when I was chatting with him, I said, when you hit that first career home run, you think you're going to get the silent treatment? He goes, yeah, probably.
So don't go down and talk to him tomorrow about his second one, all right? It might mean more than this one.
Jimmy Rollins 0 for 2 and a walk. And Willeen can't get there. Nice effort by Rosario.
MLB TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers and watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. That's the weight and strength guy. Told you if you'd get in the cage with me, I'd help you out a little bit. Get in there, lift a few weights, run them rocky steps.
Yep. Jimmy was looking for something else. Rollins got great pitch by Boone Logan. 2 outs.
Well, it's nice to have a veteran guy like Logan on the hill, because when you do make mistakes, the guy happens to hit it out, you have the ability to come back and make those pitches. Not the first time Boone had given up a home run in a late in the ball game. So you like to have that ability of a veteran guy working the back end of your bullpen, and that's Boone Logan.
So Chase Utley will come up. Chase is 0 for 3. Strikeout, fly ball to left field, and a ground ball to second. Bottom of the 7th inning, Rockies up 4-2, despite being out hit 7-3. There's strike one. Revere going 1,461 at bats was not all that far from the major league record to start a career. 1,594 homerless at bats from Frank Taveras is the big league record. Kuiper in his whole career hit 1, right?
Right.
Utley with a base hit to right. And now you really got to bear down and see if.
Yeah, Ottavino's warming up. Walt's making that step. He's checking to make sure he's ready to go.
You have Marlon Byrd with a ton of pop at the plate. He's now the tying run after that base hit.
Now, Walt's looking at it. This is just the bottom of the 7th inning. So, if you go get Ottavino, is he going to pitch the 8th also? He's due to lead off the next inning, and he used a pinch hitter. Do you want a double switch here? They have a left-hander. Now they have the right-hander warming up right behind it. so you don't know which way they're going to go. Do you double switch with Dickerson? I mean, there's a lot of things there you've got to play into before you make this move.
And
He's not going
Walt.
to. Yep, here he comes now.
And
he is going to make the double switch.
Yep.
Jeff Manship was warming, the right-handed former Rocky, former Twin, down in the bullpen.
Cargo fouled the ball off his calf earlier in the ballgame. He stayed in for a few innings, but then it swelled up on him and he had to leave in the fifth. De La Rosa and Hamels were outstanding. One run allowed by Jorge, a Darren Ruff home run. And then William Rosario finally got Cole Hamels a 3-run home run in the top of the seventh to give the Rockies at the time a 4-1 lead. Ben Revere's hit his first career home run to make it 4-2. And now with 2 outs, Utley reached on a base hit against Boone Logan. And Marlon Byrd is up, and he takes strike one from Adam Ottavino. Cooney Lexus, where luxury has a new address, open in Greenwood Village as well as Colorado Springs. DJ moves over to third. Josh Rutledge, who will lead off next inning, is now at second base. Ottavino, even though it was a blowout yesterday, did throw an inning. Clean inning, pretty quick 1-2-3 inning. 22-2 strikeout to walk ratio. How good is that?
He's having one of those years. A lot of Rockies guys fire strikes. You have that chance to be that guy. He's worked his way from the 6th inning guy all the way into this 7th, 8th inning role for the Rockies.
It's still pretty early to talk about all-star games. Now with the expanded roster, setup guys are taken periodically. He'd be a candidate. Did he go? Yeah, he did. Great job, Adam Ottavino. He strikes out Marlon Byrd with Utley aboard. We'll go to the 8th inning. Revere hits a home run. Rockies leading by 2.
years ago that Jamie Moyer made his final start in the major leagues, and it was as a Rocky. He is now a broadcaster for the Phillies. I talked to him today. He has nothing but good things to say about the Rockies organization.
I didn't hold up my end of the bargain. But again, it's part of that learning process that we all go through in life. And I think for me, that's the easy way to look at it and the way to understand it. And going back to that game, you know, even though I didn't have the results that I wanted personally or as a team, just many things I can remember that day and smile about it.
Yeah, guys, the Rockies lost that game 7-5 in Cincinnati. It was a Sunday afternoon right before Memorial Day, and he was released. Caught on with the Orioles, then the Blue Jays, and George, you know what I'm talking about. When he told me, he said, I was pitching in the minor leagues, and I said, you know what am I doing? I'm done. And he finally called it quits about the All-Star break of 2012. Now a broadcaster with the Phillies started this year.
Now the Phillies made that change this year. Jamie on your left. They made that change this year. With Sarge being moved out of the booth. Matt Stairs and Jamie taking it on now. The two guys in the loop, two ex-players.
Chris Wheeler moved on also.
Chris Wheeler had 30-something years in the Phillies broadcast booth. Now works in their PR department, speaking engagements. Better known as Wheels. Saw him today in the lunchroom. Good to see him.
Former Rocky, Jeff Manship.
Yeah,
George.
making his 15th appearance. High earned run average right now. His win in April was his first since 2010. How about that? Been a while in between. 40-some-odd appearances in between wins, but he picked it up against Arizona. Their long guy, or kind of the guy when they're behind by 2 or 3, he comes into the ball game to try to spell the rest of the bullpen. That's what he's here for now, to pitch the 8th and 9th.
2-strike count on Josh Rutledge. First AB for Josh, and this ball's driven high and deep left field. This has got a chance to get on out. A leap at the wall, and Mayberry doesn't make the catch. Heading to third is Rutledge, and he is in with a triple.
Glad for Josh Rutledge, but that was horrible defensively by Mayberry. I'm sorry, but that was horrible. I'm happy for Josh. Josh, buddy, I'm tickled pink you got a triple. I really am. They can tack onto this. But Mayberry went back on this ball. I think he thought it was gone. He gave up on the ball. He got back right here. He just kind of stopped. He's like, whoop, ball's right here next to him. He didn't even hit halfway up the wall. I'm so happy for Josh Rutledge, but, man, that was brutal defensively. Josh hustling all the way around. Now the Rockies take advantage of this to get Josh home.
So Rutledge at third, Drew Stubbs at the plate. Rockies can get that run back. And Jimmy Rollins has a strong arm, and he's playing in the middle of the dirt.
Right-handed
more
bat,
in on
too.
the grass. Yeah, right-handed bat. But as we all know, Josh Rutledge can really run. 2-0. Good count here for Stubbs. Trying to lift the baseball and get that 5th run home. That home run last inning so big. 3-run shot for Willeen Rosario. This ball driven to deep left center field. This is well struck. And this is off the base of the wall. Rutledge jogs home. Stubbs cruises into second, an RBI double, and it's 5-2.
Now you saw that high earned run average, 9th RBI for Stubbs, 2nd hit of the game for Stubbs. But you saw that the high earned run average for Manship, and Manship came into this ball game, had thrown 14 innings, 15 hits. He'd given up some extra base hits. He's lucky he didn't give up a couple of home runs here. First to Josh Rutledge, now to Stubbs. This off the wall, ricocheted perfectly, or Stubbs would have had more than just 2 with his speed. But he picks up the RBI 9th. The Rockies pick up a run. It's a 3-run difference now, 5-2.
DJ LeMahieu 1 for 3. He was robbed of a hit by Jimmy Rollins in the 6th inning. Deep in the hole, Rollins fielded it, had a jump throw right on the money to Darren Ruff. Nobody out, a run in as you look at Rollins playing in his 1,999th game tonight. Assuming he's in the lineup tomorrow, it'll be a Momentous occasion. That's fouled off. The Rockies went 26 innings, Frage, without an extra base hit. Now they have a 3-run home run, a triple, and a double in the last frame.
That's the way baseball is. I mean, you know, their team, the Phillies, shut out one day and then they score 7 the next. Figure it out. It's a long grind. 9-0, excuse me. 7-9 when you get shut out. 7 and 9's a lot of runs. Josh got it going in this inning with that triple to left.
And that had to feel particularly good for Josh. He had a couple opportunities yesterday to get the Rockies going, and as tough as this game is, you can't produce every time.
If they could, the Hall of Fame wouldn't be big enough to hold all the plaques.
You are correct. Rockies have matched tonight their total output in the first 4 games of this road trip. 5 runs tonight. They had 5 runs the first 4 games.
You know, there's been a lot said about Eddie Butler and the trio in Tulsa, but I don't think you can say enough either about Tyler Matzek. 7 2/3, 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts tonight in a ball game he won. Chris Martin picked up the win, or excuse me, the save, inning in the third, 3 hits, 3 strikeouts. For Matzek on the season, he's 5-2 now with a 320 earned run average, and that's Colorado Springs earned run average, 3.20, much better.
Yep, he's really made strides. Good job by DJ moving Stubbs to third for Tulowitzki. Who Wants Tacos fans, follow @RootsSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies score 7 or more runs. They're going to go ahead and walk Tulowitzki.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The way he swings the bat.
Dickerson on deck. John Gray was going tonight, George, in your hometown.
Rained out.
They get rained out?
Mm-hmm. Rain came through there this afternoon. Play a doubleheader tomorrow.
And now Sandberg's going to bring in a lefty to face Dickerson.
Crowd can be rough, as you heard Sandberg saying, leave him in.
We'll see if Walt counters when we come back. Rockies have a run back. It's 5-2. And here's our AT&T fan photo of the game. You know who this is? This is Charlie Culberson's beautiful little niece, and she's wearing a Charlie Blackmon foam beard. How do you like that? Tweet your photo to #COFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. So the Rockies do counter. Walt Weiss will have Brandon Barnes pinch hit for Corey Dickerson. It kind of worked out as you thought it might earlier in the game when Walt decided when Cargo couldn't continue to go with Dickerson and not Barnes.
When you only have one left-handed bat, and then you have Charlie's on the bench too, so you put Dickerson in, but you had one right-handed bat, because if you double switch anywhere in between the 6th and the 8th inning, which he had to, you had to have your one utility infielder. That was Josh Rutledge. So that one bat stood right here, and that's with Barnes, who has pinch hit and done a nice job. Drive to the right side. Looks like it's going to get in the seats. No, Bird caught it. They ought to get a run now. Nope, didn't catch it.
Out. He hit that wall, I think. It ran out of our view.
That's right down the line, too, and it's about a foot from that wall. When he gets there to catch it, tries to hold on to it, hit really hard. It's going to come off the wall, but if he catches the baseball, mission accomplished by Barnes, because Stubbs is going to tag and score. Great effort by Marlon Byrd, though.
That was a great effort by Byrd. He really never slowed down. Squared around as if the safety squeeze was on. That was way high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Got a right-handed bat and a left-handed pitcher with speed at third. It's a good combination to get a squeeze down. This ball ripped. Rollins makes a great play and safe at first. What an effort by Barnes, and that gets the run home. An extraordinary play defensively, an extraordinary effort by Barnes. Sandberg's going to come out to faux argue to see if his video team finds that he was actually out. Boy,
again, I think great effort defensively by Jimmy Rollins to get to the ball and then to turn it. Tulowitzki got into Utley. They tried to turn it as quick as they can. I do think it's the correct call. Rollins gets up to the knee, the snap throw over, and then Utley coming straight through. I can't tell when the ball was caught. Free stop. He's there, and it's safe by about a foot. And the run does score to make it a 6-2 ball game.
Barnes gets a ribby. That's a great effort by Brandon Barnes. You wouldn't expect anything different from him. Great play by Rollins also. Here's Kadire. Now the Rockies gave one back on the first career home run from Ben Revere, and they get 2 back themselves in the 8th. They have a 6-2 lead. Two balls and a strike on Michael. He's had a big impact on this game again. Every time Walt calls on him, Drew Stubbs seems like he's all over the baseball field. Single and a double tonight, 4 trips. That's back up the middle, and that's a base hit. Barnes thought about going first to third.
Well, I think it's Stubbs, and he may disagree. He's always been an everyday player. But I think Walt has started him against a lot of left-handers, which he's hit well in his career the whole time. And so that's why I think the average is as high above his career, almost 100 points higher than his career average. He's getting to face left-handers a lot, pinch hitting late in games against left-handers, and the results have been wonderful. Plus, the other side of it is, you know, if he goes 0 for 4 against the left-hander, he may not play for 3 or 4 days. He can go in the cage and work with Blake, get some things squared up before he plays again. Versus back out in the past in his career, he was right back out there the next day. I mean, it's been a huge plus for the Rockies to get him on this ball club with Stubbs. I mean, great speed in the outfield. Speaking of great speed, that's a pretty easy steal there. Barnes able to take off and run. Hollins didn't pay attention at all.
And for Barnes, his 4th bag of the year.
And you start to say to yourself, well, why would you take off and steal if the guy's going to leave you alone? In 16 innings, Hollins has thrown 2 wild pitches, so you never know. You might pick up the 7th run in a lot of different ways if you don't get the base hit.
Two strikes on Justin Morneau. It'd take Barnes long to get that uni all dirty, huh?
About 15 minutes.
You've been out there that long?
Well, I had pitching change.
Two on Morneau. Kadire takes off. Throw to second's not going to get Michael. And a stolen base for Kadire. He picks his spots. That's his 2nd of the year. He had 11 last year.
And the guys that have stuck around here in Philadelphia, fan-wise, is getting pretty ugly on the bullpen and on Sandberg right now. Big jump on the left-hander. Ruiz with the throw down. Not in time to get Kadire. Base hit, scores 2 now.
And that's on the corner, a strike. So Morneau didn't like the call, but it's strike 3. The Rockies come up with a pair of runs in the 8th to increase their lead to 4. Time for the CenturyLink link to what's next. Nice pitching matchup tomorrow. Jordan Lyles, who's really been outstanding this year, will make his 11th start. He's 5-1. Roberto Hernandez will go for Philadelphia. And the Rockies swung the bats really well against Hernandez when they saw him in Denver.
He does not have fond memories.
233 against Jordan. I'm sorry, Jordan.
He does not have fond memories. His other outings have been pretty good. It wasn't against the Rockies.
Darren Ruff is going to lead things off. Rockies up 6-2. Ottavino got the final out of the 7th inning. There's Brandon Barnes. He stays in the ballgame naturally in left field.
I would anticipate LaTroy Hawkins throwing the 9th inning just because he hasn't thrown since Saturday. He threw 1 inning Saturday and collected the save. Just so you stay sharp. A lot of times you don't like your closer to go more than 4 or 5, but you leave that in LaTroy's court too. You're up 4, and he may say, hey, go start, we'll start somebody else in the inning.
Two-strike count. Ottavino and Rosario want to get on the same page. The diehard Philly fans, they're ticked off, and they don't want to see a meeting when their club's down by 4 and you're ahead of one of their guys 0-2.
Go home.
Right.
If you don't want to sit in anymore and watch it, then go home. Don't be mad. Just go home.
No, they want to. You know, George, you pitched here. They want to watch it because they want to vent some more.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, a lot of the times it's the guys that sit in the upper deck have crept their way down to the lower deck, and they got big voices, and they got nothing but to be grumpy. Those two are grumpy.
Ground ball to third. DJ's got it. Good throw. And DJ LeMahieu, we should tell people, we've talked about Kadire taking ground balls at third. There's been a large group taking ground balls at third. George Pacheco's taken some ground balls there of late. DJ has moved over and taken fair share of ground balls at third. It doesn't matter where you put him in the infield. He's going to field it. He's a vacuum.
He'll play the game. He's a baseball player. He'll do fine with it. He's played over there at third quite a bit, a lot more than Rutledge. So, I mean, that's why he's there. Then you've got, obviously, Charlie.
That's a strike, 1-1 on John Mayberry. So how about this, George? The Rockies went 26 innings without an extra base hit.
I heard
they went 23 innings
yeah.
plus without scoring a run. They've now hit for the cycle in the last inning.
Comes in bunches. We talked about that a minute ago with Philadelphia, no hit and then 9 runs put on the board. The next day, Walt happy to see what's going on here after they'd started the trip 1-3 to win your second ball game. With another one here tomorrow, and you got one of the hotter pitchers in baseball, Jordan Lyle. Where was that? Kidding me? Why'd you have to check to get that called? I know. I'm just wondering why they had to check it to get it called. He couldn't throw it. He couldn't walk it into home plate much better than this. That's where you want to throw the slider.
2-2 on Mayberry. And 3-2. They used to say Mickey Lolich walked around and his arm was crooked from throwing that screwball.
Lolich, Jim Brewer was another guy that had the crooked arm. Turned in. The guy that really had it bad. I'm drawing a blank right now. The closer here in Philly, you got to believe Tug McGraw had a.
Tug McGraw.
McGraw
he did too. The reason I brought that up is Ottavino's going to have the reverse look with the number of sliders he throws.
Well, I mean, you know, it's pretty obvious. You look at me, and I got a left arm that's straight, and a right arm that's like this. That's a lot of innings.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do about it. Part of it.
You know what? You just showed me that. I never noticed that before.
Yeah,
but you're right.
Yeah, that's right. It's almost true with anybody that mounted into a lot of ball games or pitched a lot of innings.
You should have been lefty, though. You know that.
Oh, I should have been. Ow, that hurt.
Carlos Ruiz gets plunked.
Yeah, just fastball that trying to come inside, didn't get in. Got him on the elbow. Of course, this crowd's going, fight, fight. They want a 6-2 ball game. That's the last thing they're trying to do. Ryan Howard has stepped out into the on-deck circle to get loose. Nobody throwing down in the Rockies bullpen yet.
So Howard's going to pinch hit for the third baseman Hernandez here in the 8th inning. Now, it's not often you get 3 hits and knock in 5 in a ball game, and you get a seat on the bench the next day. But Ryan Howard had a huge day yesterday for Philadelphia.
Left on left. That's why he got the seat, one of the hottest left-handers, with De La Rosa out there. He's only faced Ottavino 1 time, and he's 0 for 1. Second on the list of all-time, and you think about this, all-time home run hitters in a Phillies uniform. Mike Schmidt leads it at 548. He's at 319. Pat Burrell, Chuck Klein, Luzinski, we talked about him earlier, and then Utley's 7th.
You got 3 of the top 10 in this ball game. Jimmy Rollins is 9th on that list. Otto reared back, got 94, and that's again what makes him unique. We always talk about the slider. We were just referencing how frequently he throws it, but he still has a mid-90s fastball.
Yes, he does, with some heavy sink. Watch the bottom drop out of this, down and away.
And this should be 2.
Made.
Yep, there's 1, and on to first, double play. End of inning. Ottavino does a great job. A walk, and there was a hit batter. Nothing else across. We'll go to the 9th. The Rockies 6 and the Phils 2. And by Mike Shaw Subaru, always our lowest price. Much better night in Philadelphia this evening than last night. The Rockies have exploded for 5 runs in the last couple of innings. They're up 6-2 as we go to the 9th inning. And for a preview of what's to come after the ball game, we go west again, as Horace Greeley said one time. Go west, young man. To Jenny Cavnar and Ryan Spilborghs. Jenny? Sounds like a good plan, Jenny. Thank you. Justin DeFreitas, who was called up just yesterday and pitched yesterday. Second stint with the Phils this year. He's on for the 6th time. He'll throw the 9th inning. Willeen Rosario is going to lead things off. And with Hernandez being pinch hit for at third base, there's a guy who began the season last year with the Rockies, Reed Brignac. Reed was called up not all that long ago. He was swinging the bat really well at Lehigh Valley. About an hour and 10 minutes from here. AAA affiliate of the Phils. Well, it was Baby Bull that gave the Rockies a 4-1 lead in the 7th. 1-1 ball game. Hamels cruising. 2 men aboard after 2 walks. And he drove it out of the ballpark over the auxiliary scoreboard in right for his 5th home run of the year. 6th home run ever at the bank. And it snapped an 0 for 15 for Willeen. Breaking balls in there for a strike. 1-1. Charlie Blackmon has come out on deck. Pitcher spot now after the double switch is in the 8 hole. So it's Willeen, Charlie Blackmon, and then Josh Rutledge. Good pitch. 1-2. Two and two. On the ground to second, Chase Utley. Charlie Blackmon will come up here in the 9th with 1 out. Auto glass issues, trust Safelite. Online at safelite.com. Phone number 303-287-5000. And there's Charlie Blackmon. Charlie had a couple of hits last night in the Rockies' 9-0 loss. Charlie brings a .323 average into the ball game. 9 home runs, 33 RBIs. Got 9 doubles also. De La Rosa on the plus side. Hamels is not. Jorge went 6 strong innings, allowed just 1 run on 6 hits. A couple walks, 4 punch outs. 98 pitches tonight for De La Rosa.
Well, good job, too. I mean, threw the ball, they got in his zone when he needed to, got outs when he needed to. One little rough spot that he had with Philadelphia. It came in the 3rd inning. He worked out of that fine. Hawkins warming up down in the bullpen for the Rockies.
Yeah, that was one of the big keys, George. They loaded the bases in the 3rd inning with nobody out. De La Rosa didn't allow a run. Brilliant pitching, and then the only run they got was a home run from Darren Ruff. You look at his numbers since mid-April, they're as good as anybody's in the National League. And there's been some guys who are throwing out big numbers, as we know. That kid in Atlanta, who the Rockies just saw over the weekend, Julio Teheran. Johnny Cueto's throwing the ball great.
Zach Greinke is throwing the ball very well.
Yeah, Greinke's got the baseball tonight. You're right. He's been terrific.
Well, Wainwright's 8-2 now.
Yeah, Wainwright. Samardzija, he rarely gets an opportunity to win, but his ERA is minuscule. Finally won yesterday. Beat the Giants. 2-2. And this ball is hit well down the left field line, but it's going to fade into the stands.
Giants lead tonight 2-0 in the 5th inning. The LA up on Cincinnati 5-0. Both those clubs at home.
Greinke has this long streak going of allowing it's 2 runs or less.
Arizona is losing to San Diego 3-2 in Arizona. That game's in the top of the 7th.
So last night, George, after the game, Dougie and I and Tavis and Mike, we went and got Susan got something to eat. And Ryu had a perfect game into the 8th inning. This ball's well hit to right center field, and Marlon Byrd makes a great catch to rob Charlie Blackmon.
He can't hit it any harder, and that is the sign of a true professional veteran that's been around a long time. You know, to go back, still continue to put out 120%, to jump up, catch this baseball, time everything perfectly, and get the out. Yeah, DeFreitas is like, yeah, I love it. It's an out. Get that ERA down a little bit more. Things had been a little high for me since coming back from the minor leagues. Had a 6 ERA coming into this game.
You know, after that Revere home run, the Phils had closed to 4-2. And then Rutledge, in his first at bat of the game, he came in a double switch, triple leading off last inning, and that ignited a 2-run rally. And he gets plugged.
2 outs, that's kind of obvious.
Yeah, that one's a make good.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious what went on there.
It's taking care of Ruiz. Yep, Michael Kadyr's not pleased.
Pretty obvious 2 outs right here. Worked up underneath of it, caught Rutt right in the back of the shoulder. You know what? You know what I liked out of all of that? Brian Gorman didn't warn anybody. Veteran umpire. He thought it's a little off too. So you want to take care of it? You take care of it.
Drew Stubbs at the plate, fouls that first pitch off. Stubbs a single and a double tonight. 2 runs scored, 1 driven in. I'm talking about Greinke's run very quickly. 22 straight starts. He's allowed 2 runs or fewer. It's a major league record. So they have Ryu going, Kershaw, and Greinke. And of course, I didn't mention Beckett, who just threw a no-hitter here. Two and two. To third, that's foul. That's close. Again, it's not where he goes to field it. It's if it goes over the bag, fair or foul.
Well outside of the bag.
This ball driven to deep left field. Mayberry reaches up and he makes this catch. Wow. First it was Bird, now Mayberry robbing the Rockies in the 9th inning. Colorado looking for 3 more outs. They're up 6-2. top pitching prospects in the Rockies organization. You'll meet Eddie Butler. You'll check on his development. John Gray as well. In fact, Oklahoma native John Gray will take a break from baseball to show you his hometown of Chandler, Oklahoma. That and plenty more on the next episode of Rockies Real Time. It's a good show. Friday after the game. Did you catch anything that day, by the way?
Yes, we did.
No, I said, did you? I didn't say.
Yes, I did.
You did too?
Yes, I did. Caught a couple of fish. I was the guide around there, introduced him to Mr. Rod Grimmett, who owns the property down there. Nice enough to let the drillers come on. Well, Troy Hawkins on here to get some work in the ninth inning with the Rockies up 4.
Great job by Adam Ottavino. He goes an inning and a third.
Again.
Yeah, he has been so valuable for the Rockies. Inning and a third, a walk, a hit batter, and a strikeout. Nothing else across. This is Reed Brignac. And 2-0. On Brignac. And a 4-pitch walk to Reed, who got 29 games last year with the Rockies and hit .250. Did hit a home run in a Rockies uniform. I'll bring up Ben Revere. Speaking of home runs, he had his first career home run in his last at bat after over 1,400 at bats without a home run to begin his career. That's 5 straight out of the zone, so Willeen will go out.
Very unusual for LaTroy to miss the zone. To miss it 5 times is really out of the realm for him. Well, it takes one pitch, flip a double play, and get it over with. That's why you try to never go beyond 4 days with your closer. That ball out of the strike zone, given a strike though by Brian Gorman.
One ball, 2 strikes on Revere. And the 2-2 pitch fouled off.
Yeah, peek in on the sign. It's been all fastballs so far. Going to go back to it again. Just take it away out of the zone a little bit. Try to hope to get it on the ground, get a ground ball, get a double play. Revere doing a nice job fighting off every pitch. Just not getting around on it, but fighting it off enough to keep the at-bat going. Rockies have actually been out hitting this game 8-6, but they lead it 6-2. The 3-run blow by Rosario, the big one. See LaTroy working up and away to Revere.
And it's 3-2 on Revere. Line drive, DJ LeMahieu, soft line drive. Excuse me, Josh Rutledge at second now. 1 out. DJ over at third. Tomorrow the Rockies and Phillies will conclude their 3-game series. Our coverage begins at 4:30 in the afternoon with the pregame report on Root Sports. Then it's off to Cleveland. Thursday will be a day off. Rockies will see the Indians Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon. Then they'll be home for an extended period. That will be great. Jimmy Rollins takes a strike. Everything out of Detroit's hand tonight, 94-95. Just missing the zone by a smidgen. Rollins 0 for 3 and a walk. And the breaking ball's in the air to Barnes in left. And that is out number 2. Two gone in the ninth. The Rockies up 6-2. Chase Utley will come up. Chase is 1 for 4. UCLA product. Way to UCLA with Garrett Atkins. Runner moves up. 1 strike as Brignac goes to second. That's not a stolen base. They're your old friends, George. Up 4 runs, 2 outs in the ninth, wearing out the Rockies for that meeting.
There is a pizza parlor somewhere calling your name, folks.
Maybe ours too. 1 strike to count on Utley. Good fastball from Detroit. You want to get him here. Keep this outing in the teens in terms of number of pitches. Strike 3, ball game over. Utley caught looking, and the Rockies a much-needed 6-2 victory over the Phils. The bats respond late. Willeen Rosario, an enormous 3-run opposite field home run. And a great outing once again from Jorge De La Rosa. He improves to 6-3. Cole Hamels, who pitched well, drops to 1-3 as the Rockies knock off the Phillies tonight 6-2 and end a little 2-game slide in which they were shut out back-to-back ball games. Once again, the final score 6-2 Colorado. The Rockies improved to 28-24. Philadelphia drops to 22-27. We'll see you tomorrow for Game 3 of the Subaru Series presented by Mike Shaw. For now, we get you back to our Denver studios where Jenny Kavnar and Ryan Spilborghs are all set to go with the Toyota postgame show. Jenny.